I wanted to do a quick review of the new Fisher Space Pen Measure Twice Tactical Pen, because it doesn't seem that there are many reviews or anything up yet. I was very excited to try this out because obviously Fisher is a huge name. I mean, everybody's probably had a go with their pens and maybe like them, maybe don't. I have the Kappa-matic, the all black version, and it's good in some ways, but it's never really one that I rely on. But I was excited about this because it's a bolt action pen, and bolt action is obviously the best because it's the one that is never going to accidentally write in your pocket. It's never going to deploy by accident and get ink everywhere. They're fun to fidget with, and most of them are very strong and robust. I've never seen a placky bolt action pen, although I do think that Bastion makes an acrylic version of their pen, but they're usually metal, they're usually very strong, they're very, very good for EDC. So I was very excited about this Fisher one, and immediately got it when they had an offer on the penstore.se website, penstore.com. So I got it, and I'm probably going to send it back. So let's have a look. So this is the box that you get it in. You can insert your sort of, Strauss, Zarathustra soundtrack. Never mind that. So this is the box that it comes in. Looks kind of rocket inspired, and up it pops. Here is the pen. So typical black sort of look, and here is the measuring bit and the measure twice. You can see that you've got it in metric and imperial, so you can measure things with your pen, although I guess if you wanted to write a line and measure that, you would have to disassemble the pen, take out the cartridge, use that held up against the outside of the pen, and then reassemble it once you were done, which sounds kind of stupid, but maybe it's fine if you just want to sort of maybe check the length of a blade or something. I don't know, if you're in airport security and you're arguing about whether your blade is over or under the legal limit for where you are, that might be useful, but otherwise I don't think it's particularly great. Now, the other thing is this is a double action. Can you see it's a double action bolt action? So the downward deploys the pen. It feels reasonably good. And then if you do it upwards, you get a carbide glassbreaker, which might be useful in an emergency. Now, I tend to think that just having a very solid metal pen is probably just as good for most situations. There's also an issue with this kind of thing that in a real emergency, you're going to be flooded with adrenaline, and your fine motor skills really suffer. So you might not actually be able to do that little fiddly, upward and to the side with your thumb kind of thing. You might just be there being like, oh my God, I can't get out of this burning car, which would suck. There's a milled pocket clip, which looks kind of nice. You can see there's just a tiny gap between the clip and the pen, so it's not going to scratch the side. But honestly, I tried it and it really snags on the pocket of my trousers. It's not nearly as comfortable and easy to use as, say, the one on the Bastion bolt action pens. And the real problem with this, I think, is, listen. I mean, it's so rattly because you've got a spring down the bottom, you've got a spring at the top so that when you do the bolt action for the pen, it holds the pen in the cartridge out, and then I guess you've got another one underneath that, underneath the bolt, to hold up the carbide. But that means you've got a lot of springs in there, and when it's not in use, when it's in neutral, as it were, it's very rattly. That's very annoying. The Bastion ones and others are completely silent. So it's a swing and a miss. It's a nice idea. There's supposed to be a little bit of ribbing on the grip section here, but it's still kind of slidey. And honestly, like the Fisher face pen refills, they're not super smooth unless you write vertically like that. And if you have a normal grip like that, they're a little bit crunchy. So honestly, I'm a bit disappointed with this. I think I paid 620 odd Swedish krona. So I paid about $65, something in that kind of range. But I'm gonna send it back because it just isn't good enough for that amount of money.